Hi, it's Anne from Unity Physiotherapy and Wellbeing. I wanted to share some thoughts, reflections around rules and flexibility, particularly in relation to living with things like persistent pain, MECFS, long COVID, fibromyalgia, any long-term condition really. And the reason I'm sharing this is it's something I've been reflecting on this last week really, because coincidentally, like things do, sometimes, multiple times they come into your awareness, and that's what's happened with rules and flexibility. They have come into my stratosphere of awareness a number of times this week. Firstly, when I listened to a podcast with Dr. Stan Steindl and Dr. Stephen Hayes, it came into my awareness then, and you can listen to that podcast. I shared a post about it earlier this week. And one of the things Dr. Stephen Hayes talked about was how we give ourselves rules, and that stops us flexibly responding in the moment. And there are a number of things we need to flexibly respond in the moment, but the rules we give ourselves impact that. And one of the examples he gave was, if you give yourself a rule that sadness is bad, how can you be sad when it's appropriate to be, like when there's a loss? And that was kind of got me reflecting on different things and what we need in terms of being flexible in the moment. And then during my work this week, someone I was working with, we'd talked about a number of things at their initial assessment, and I'd sent them some bits to read on nervous system regulation. And from that, they'd made some changes, and we hadn't talked about rules and flexibility from what I recall. We might have talked a little bit about flexibility indirectly, but certainly didn't talk about rules. And one of the things they said to me was they are trying to be more flexible, and instead of having all these rules, responding to what they feel they need in the moment. And that is so important. And it really got me reflecting on all the rules that we give ourselves, living with a long-term condition or not. But then when we live with a long-term condition, we give ourselves rules about not being able to do a certain thing, or if we do a certain thing, we can only do it a certain way, and then we have to do a certain thing afterwards. And we have to follow this step every day. And that might not be what we need. And it really takes us away from listening to the messages of our body and understanding what we need in the moment. And also, it's very threat system based. And things like persistent pain, MECFS, on COVID, the threat system's turned up as well. And the other thing with rules is it stops us flexibly responding to the needs of others. And I think we're given so many rules as we grow up, from society in general, from teachers, from parents, from other significant others. And then when we have a long-term health condition, we are directly, indirectly, given rules by well-meaning healthcare professionals, well-meaning other professionals. And often the people I see, they come to me and they're following strict kind of routines and exercises that they've been given that are not really helping them. And they're not listening to the messages of the body and being able to kind of respond to what's flexibly needed. And what that stops people doing is really engaging in what's meaningful to them and being able to kind of live aligned with their values to meet the tricky things in life in a flexible way and be able to kind of grow from them. So I just thought I'd share a few thoughts and maybe get you thinking about the rules that you've given yourself or that have been given to you that you apply in your life. Certainly something I have been reflecting on this week, and I do think it's a really helpful thing to think about because the rules that we give are part of what prevents us from flexibly responding to what's needed in the moment for ourselves and for others, responding in a way where we are fully grounded in our compassionate self. We are responding from that place in a values aligned way, in a way that's meaningful and authentic, aligned with who and how we want to be in the world. So I know this may be a little bit waffly, there's quite a bit in my head about this, but yeah, I thought I'd share it. And if you live with a long-term condition, How many rules have you given yourself? And it's important to distinguish between having these rules, but actually having things each day that support your health and well-being, that support you in living well with the condition you're living with and also changing it. There is a difference to having rigid rules to doing things that help you daily, living in a way that supports your health and well-being in a flexible way. So do let me know if this was helpful. I hope it's not been too waffly, and have a lovely day. Take care.